angry Ozzy. Ozzy. Angry Ozzy. Angry.
Hey, typical me doing last minute things. Let's move some things around. Hello, Mega Leech. Hi. Mix up my oldie fashioned for World Whiskey Day. Though it's whiskey and rum, old fashioned. Get a big chunko ice from my big ice cube tray and chuck it in the glass. Right, no, I'm not gonna, I was getting distracted then. Oh my god, I look very mad scientist with the hair, don't I? Feel like I should tie it back. It was tied back all day and I let it out, and I think that's why it went somewhat mad scientist vibe. There you go. That's a bit neater looking. All right. Oldie fashioned. Pour one out for the homies. I always forget something. Get rid of that. Want some orange peel for my garnish? Cause I'm a classy motherfucker who dropped his fucking peel on the floor. 5-second rule, and I'm going to wash it because I have to get something from over here anyway. Skewer and cherries. Going the whole hog here tonight. Express my orange over the top. Oh yeah, nice spritz of oil went in there. Around the glass. So I get that waft of citrus when I take a sippy sip. And now the ever increasingly difficult task of getting a cherry from this jar with a skewer. I think it may be time to admit it's very hard to do and just get a spoon and take one out. But this is like a fun fair game, you know. Yeah, I got one. That was actually relatively quick. It's like, you know, sideshow game, stab the cherry, 3 tries for $1. I actually got it on the 3rd try, which surprised me. It's one of those games. Each time you get one, it gets harder to get the next one because they all move around. All right. Tell you what. This is not the most ergonomically sound setup I have here. Kind of like my working from home site. I don't know, because it's an anniversary of me working from home. I had to redo the safety questionnaire that I did 2 years ago when I first started working from home. Who knows the thought process behind these things in corporate world. But yeah, so just lied through my teeth about how safe and non-dodgy my home work setup is. Unless you're someone I work for and then it was all true and it's completely safe. Cheers, Lee. Yum. Okay. Ooh, I'm going to test my barrels tonight, actually. I want to make a video a boot. I'm about to make another cocktail and barrel age it. And I more or less decided today what it was going to be. I hadn't decided what it was going to be, but now I think I know. Going to be a version. Well, it's going to be inspired by an aviation, which is inspired by Mrs. Angry and I had a little outing today to a local-ish distillery. Went to Brogan's Way, and man, it was good. Nettie, hi. Yes. A couple of weeks ago, went there with Nettie and Abigail. Mrs. Angry was busy, and I talked it up. Oh, my God. Sorry, the way windows are in this house, there's just this brief moment where I thought there was a ghost at the window, and it was a reflection off a reflection from another window. It was mildly disconcerting. Not that I particularly believe in ghosts. Anywho, yes. So a couple of weeks ago, Nettie and Abigail and I went there, and it was really good. And I talked it up to Mrs. Anger, like we had a good time. So I think it was yesterday I had the idea because we just had like a lazy Sunday ahead of us. And Mrs. Angry said, well, why don't we go out to Brogan's Way? So we did. We went out and had lunch and drinks. Fuck, it was good. And Nettie, you may be happy to hear that they still had the barrel-aged cocktail, and it was still friggin' amazing. See, Nettie, is it Jewish ghosts? No, as you know, I have the scrolls on every door frame in the house. So Jewish ghosts can't get me. So, yes. No, it was actually so out that window is sort of backyard clothesline, but there's another window over there, which is the laundry. And I didn't think Mrs. Angry was in there, but she was. And yeah, just seeing her out of the corner of my eye was really disconcerting because it's like, someone's moving there. Oh, it's Mrs. Angry again. Net, I imagine that could have been it. Yes. An angry Jewish ghost who can't get in because of all the protective scrolls on the doorways. So when I moved, I sort of vaguely knew what they were. I'll get the definition. So it's a mezuzah. Okay, so a mezuzah is a piece of parchment called a clef contained in a decorative case inscribed with specific Hebrew verses from the Torah. These verses consist of the Jewish prayer, Shema Yisrael, beginning with the phrase, Hear, O Israel, the Lord, our God, the Lord is one. So so the idea is the Torah accompanies you wherever you go. And somewhat devout Jewish people will touch them as well. A friend of mine did that. So there's a biblical reference that says, you shall inscribe them on your doorpost of houses and on your gates. So that little bit of prayer is supposed to be on every doorpost in the house. And here it is, on every room. So yeah, then I had my Jewish friends explain them to me. And I went, oh, so I'm safe from Jewish ghosts. And they're like, no, that's not, I didn't say that. Well, where's that come from? And I'm just like, safe from Jewish ghosts. And so they refused to talk to me anymore. Rude. But I think you're onto it, Nettie. An angry Jewish ghost can't come in, but could stare at me angrily through the window. That could happen. Or possibly just my angry Jewish neighbors who can hear what I'm saying. They might stare in angrily from the window. That could happen. But yes, that was that. So, oh yeah, like Nettie, something to look out for. Young Ben was at the venue again today, and he said they're doing a refit of the interior in May, and that's a build up to like World Gin Day or something, which they're having special events for. Something to look forward to. Robot Alien Assassin, you're obsessed with Frankie Foster. Ah, from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Man, that's a throwback. All right, just to brighten you up and distract you, do you know there's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends porn? Of course you. Rule 43 or whatever rule it is. If it exists, there's porn of it on the internet. But yeah, there is Frankie Foster porn on the internet. So that will either help with your obsession or make it worse. But again, yes, humans aren't we grubby little creatures, quite honestly. Oh, nice. Well, you keeping up with the high distinctions? Good to hear. World Whiskey Day today. Jesus Christ, Bing sucks. Microsoft suck generally. It was okay. These things like Whiskey Day and Cocktail Day and Gin Day and vodka, they seem to be like different people declare them different days, because I just looked it up and this mob is saying it's 21st May, which I'm on board with having another Whiskey Day. I'll have as many Whiskey Days as I can. Oh, there you go. All right. So, yeah, you know that exists. That's why. Yep. Is she canonically 22? Okay. I learned something tonight. So I just wanted this to see if they recommend a cocktail sponsored by Dewars, Aberfeldy, Johnny Walker. Here we go. Whiskey Cocktails 101. Easy whiskey cocktails. A brown derby, a bourbon mojito. Good Lord. A whiskey smash, a silver 75, whiskey and apple juice, a highball, and a smoky. Okay, I don't know what a silver 75. It's a highball. Okay. Whiskey, simple syrup, lemon juice, topped with sparkling white wine. Okay, gross. I'm just going to say it. Gross. It's a sour highball. There are worse things in the world, I guess. Yeah, dude, younger than me. It's always disconcerting when people younger than you die. Also, I noticed you corrected yourself to Foo Fighters. I also like the idea of a band called the Food Fighters. I think that would be a good band. But yeah, a lot of people are sort of like, oh. And it was interesting. A lot of people sort of feeling for Dave Grohl, having this is the second time someone close to him died. Raise your back here. It is voodoo. It's absolutely voodoo, man. Robot, your two best friends are Muggy and Toaster, and why wouldn't they be? Why one? Okay. You just reminded me of something. Okay, so Mrs. Angry and I are in Richmond today, going to the distillery, and then we left the distillery, coming home. We're going down like the one of the main streets of Richmond, where all the bougie shops are. And there's this one selling kitchen appliances, and they were selling super bougie kitchen appliances. They had these, I think they were Smeg kitchen appliances with a cover done by one of the famous designers, and they were like $900 for a toaster. Good Lord. Oh, Lee, you're going all the way to a doctorate. Well, good on you. Yes, Ray's 15 years of Voodoo. Yeah, I think I'm coming up on 16 years actually, maybe 17 even. I'm honestly not sure. It's in May, I think, my YouTube anniversary. Now, okay, $900 Smeg toaster. I think it was a Smeg. It was this ridiculous designer thing. And normal Smeg toasters are over $200. Oh god, and there's a fucking $300 one, which is stupid as fuck. But you know, these ones were like $1,000. Maybe if I put Richmond in there as well. No, you know what? I should have taken a photo. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't take a photo. Hey, Justin, how's it going? But yeah, these ridiculous kitchen appliances, like a blender that was over $1,000 because of this designer thing, and it was just ridiculous. Absolutely. But again, there's a whole industry designed to give stupid rich people something to spend money on, like just to ridiculously waste their money. Ha! Ray's, you're riding the e-scooters around Richmond. Yeah, I saw a few of them around Richmond today when I was there. I'm an old man. They're not really my thing. I'm glad you had fun on them. I get my cherry to get a lot of flavor. Okay. Maybe what I need to do is okay, yep. I've saved that one. Okay, here we go. This site's idea of 20 best whiskey cocktails. Okay, so they got 20 best bourbon. Probably do the bourbon ones. Do they have any other sort of whiskeys? Scotch. Yeah, okay. 20 best Irish whiskey cocktails. 20 best Scotch whiskey cocktails. All right. I'm going to go. What do they think of the 20 best bourbon cocktails? Is that a thing inquiring minds want to do? Robert Alien, Muggy and Toaster are from. Oh, okay. They're from Fallout New Vegas. Old World Views. There you go. I've never played any of the Fallout games. So, Lemonheads. BF always asks if the band you're listening to is dead. You're a curse. But Evan Dando and Nick Talton are still kissing. There you go. Kicking. Maybe kissing too. Who knows? Oh, you ran into one of the 70K lads. Oh, that's old times, isn't it? My God. So we made a whole video about that back in the day. All right. So, bourbon cocktails. Old-fashioned. Boulevardier. Brown Derby. Enrico Palazzo. A haberdasher. A haystack. A highfalutin Swedish punch. Beer aromatized wine. Which I don't have, but I could use one of my vermouths for. Kentucky Buck, a Midnight Stinger, Bourbon Fernet Branca, lemon juice. It's a digestive. It's a sour with Fernet Branca, which is a weird drink. New York Sour, an Old Fashioned, Paper Plane, Perfect Summit Manhattan, Sazerac, Sunset Strip Manhattan, Viol Place, Bourbon, Cognac, Suze, Dry Vermouth, Amaret. Man, that's got a lot of ingredients. And a Vieux Carré, which is one that I quite like. Decisions. Whiskey day. Gotta have a whiskey. Robot Alien, no, you can't post links in the chat. If you post a link, I won't see it. Lee, a band to listen to, 2 members are dead. There's a conspiracy theory where he died and got replaced by a lookalike. That conspiracy theory, of course, you're referring to the Beatles. Yeah. I was about to say, that goes back to Paul McCartney. Not the only one, by the way. There are some contemporary pop stars that have had that rumor made about them. Just like people just like having weird ideas. A highfalutin whiskey, Swedish punch, beer. Okay. How is that described? Beer. It's a Kina. Okay. Beer. Aromatized wine, red wine. Mistel and quinine. Best appreciated, serve over ice with a slice. Okay. I reckon I've got something that I'll substitute. I might make some. I might make that. I haven't used my Swedish punch in cocktail for a while. What's in a Vieux Place? Whiskey, cognac, gentian, sweet vermouth, amaretto, sugar syrup, Peychaud's bitters, and Angostura bitters. Okay, the stove is singing the song of its people, which is super freaking annoying. I'm just going to disappear for a little bit. I love that raise. The pirate Captain Feathersword from the Wiggles. Same rumor. Okay. All right. I'm just going to excuse myself. I've got to go over here for a minute because you probably can't hear it, but the timer on the stove is buzzing and it's annoying the shit out of me. This will just take literally slightly more than 10 seconds to do. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Done. Okay, I'd sobered up from my day drinking, and now this one drink, I'm feeling it again. Robot Alien Assassin, if you split up a link, I'm still not seeing it. So, what is it you're suggesting I look like? Safa, they don't care about minor things like that. It's just like the stove buzzes. What do? Well, I push the timer, then it stops buzzing. Well, keep doing that. Hey, Earthcrow, how you doing? Haven't seen you in ages. Cheers, buddy. Vieux Place with bourbon and cognac and gentian, sweet vermouth, amaretto. Am I going to taste 5 mils of amaretto? I don't think so. And bitters. Might make that. Comments. People say reduce the simple syrup. Oh God, that's only 10 mils though. Jesus. Wankers. Took down the bourbon. Love the complexity. Bitty yet sweet. Oh God, that's a... Yeah, I just thought someone's pointing out someone about cocktails don't have gender. Someone's saying they think this is a more feminine cocktail. And it's like, Dude, you've got issues. So Earthcrow, you've been building frequent flyers. Oh no, at the local hospital. No. Oh no. Hey, Celtic King. Yeah, Rays. I wish. Well, my next best thing to pushing a button is making a bottle of something and just pouring it out, which is almost as quick. Yeah, it was that David Bernstein give peace a chance with Arcade Fire. Yeah, and I'm sure that will get Vladimir Putin to change his mind. Oh, it's a Frankie Foster. Okay. Yeah, but I would literally have to copy that and delete, and that seems like a lot of work. I'm gonna be honest. Seems like a lot of work. I don't think I want to do it. I haven't showed off this shirt properly. This is the last of my new shirts. Last one to parade. It's a gin themed one. I wore it to the gin distillery today. See, it says gin on that bottle. I love this real sort of retro. It's martinis. I like this. I like all of them. Celtic King, big question. My favorite whiskey. There's lots of good ones. Right up there would be Starwood's Nova Single Malt. It's really nice. It is really nice. I very much appreciate that one. It's good. So which one? Lemonheads wrote a love song about his stove. Well, why not? Why not indeed? I was about to say there's been stranger things that had love songs written about them, but has there really? Stove is a pretty weird one, and points to the Lemonheads for doing something that weird. I'm appreciative of people who do weird things in the name of art and creativity. It's like when Björk saying, I'm going to wear red for a year and punch journalists. Both excellent decisions, honestly. She didn't announce she was going to punch journalists. She just did it. So... All right. Really going to Yeah, I feel like I should make some. Oh, although I really like the sound of the Vieux Place. History adapted from a recipe created in 2018 by Robbie Nixons at Brut Assault, Belgium. Twist on the classic Vieux Carré. Vieux Carré and Vieux Place both have the name meaning old square. Oh, that's interesting. The way French works. Vieux Carré is masculine. Vieux Place is feminine. There you go. That's a fun bit of trivia. Oh, yeah, no, Earthcrow, the one that Björk punched, asked for it, definitely. Oh, many people have considered punching Avi Yemeni, and many people do not like the way he records them. Various crowds have found fun ways to deal with him, namely very loudly addressing his convictions for assault on women. And he's a piece of shit. He's a lying, scheming piece of shit. And can only assume his family's absolutely ashamed of him for like hanging out and validating Nazis. All right. Thinking. Right. Okay. Put one thing back in the fridge and take other things out. Okay. That is that. That is that. This is this. Coquirosa. Okay. Do 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 do. And I have to choose one of my many whiskies. Tiny Bear. I feel like I haven't used Tiny Bear for a little while. Tiny Bear single malt. It's really nice. Okay. So what do I think of the budget? It's going to be typical governmental bullshit, basically. Yes, he's a bit thin-skinned and blocks people who Robert Alien Assassin, I think you can find me by searching Angry Ozzy on Discord, or you could just send me the link on Twitter or Facebook. Kelso King, it's actually a big regret of mine that I haven't learned another language, to be honest. And yes, I agree, Lemonheads. It's good to be goofy and have a laugh. I like to have a laugh. What did I do with my jigger? Honestly. This drink's pretty simple, so I'm going to make it. Oh, okay. I'll put it all the way back over here. Why not? Make your life more difficult, son. Why not do that? I was doing my McDonald's clean as you go thing. Okay. So, it's running down the old Tiny Bear. Less than half of the bottle. Okay. Yep. Wait, no, I'll double check the recipe actually. I think it was pretty straightforward. It was 1.5. I was going to put 2 shots in, but it's 1.5. Being super lazy again and building it in the glass rather than in a mixing glass and then pouring it in my glass. Anyway, and one of my Swedish punch. Oh, that's interesting. Something started to come out of solution. Fair enough. Shut that down. Maybe I need to finish this actually. And my bitter red aromatized wine, Coquirosa. That's a bit much of that, so that might be a bit better, but I'll survive. I am tough. Right. Right. You bloody well right. Okay. We're good. Oh, right. Discord doesn't. Okay, so yeah. So just send it to me on Twitter or Facebook. Oh my God. Wicked dad joke, Earthcrow. Fell asleep reading old magazines, woke up with back issues. What I think about Kurt Cobain is standing up for marginalized people. Look, I don't know a lot about Kurt Cobain, but from my somewhat hazy memory, I feel like he did stand up for marginalized people. And he said a bunch of pretty positive things. That's my memory of him, which, you know, as I said with a disclaimer, the memory may be faulty. Okay. Lee knows 5 languages, but Celtic says, what language would I learn? Well, both of my offspring speak Japanese quite well. Maybe join them in learning Japanese? I don't know. Oh, jeez. Robot Alien Assassin, if you don't have Facebook or Twitter, I don't know what to tell you. Because I don't use Discord very much, so I don't really know how it works. Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, man, that's good. Yeah, so you just said all that stuff about Discord, and I know none of that because I don't really know Discord very well. So, Kesara. Oh, Kelswick, that's a fun one. Learn Norwegian. And yes, Ray's Dead Kennedys did say great shit. Top 7. Notably, Nazi punks fuck off. I even saw way back in the day, not way back in the day, but 90s, I think it was, Jello Biafra do a spoken word gig in Sydney, which was really entertaining. He's a great speaker. Okay. Glad I made that drink. It's nice. The Earthcrow, when you work for Australia Post, they asked what language you spoke. Wrote Australian. They listed Australian as an official language spoken in our workplace. Sure, why not? Just made me randomly remember something. When the marriage equality plebiscite was going on, some people noticed the envelope they gave you to send it back in. You could like hold it up to the light and you could see what response someone had marked on their form, which is a pretty bad oversight. You know, just one in a long string of bad oversights from the federal government. But that's a pretty bad one. You know, something's meant to be a secret that you just have to hold the envelope up to the light and you can see what someone voted. And then this guy who's a fucking shit stirrer on Twitter posted a picture showing you could do that. And he just said, like, I work at the Australia Post Depot at blah, like he mentioned a particular Australia Post Depot, and I'm holding every envelope that comes in up to the light to check, and anyone that votes no on marriage equality, I'm just throwing it in the bin. This guy did not work for Australia Post. He's just, you know, starting shit. And the conservatives latched onto it, lost their tiny fucking minds, and were in a huge froth about it. And of course, Australia Post came out and said, this person doesn't work for Australia Post. But they wouldn't let it go. It's just like they were holding it up as this huge conspiracy thing. It's just like, fuck you people, honestly. Raised the idea was, oh yeah, no, it was a waste of money, most definitely. Yeah, because they knew beyond a doubt that a significant majority of the population supported marriage equality. That was never in doubt. The outcome of the vote was never in doubt. It did two terrible things. One, it made this open season of fucking bigotry and vitriol from all the homophobic shitbags. And second, wasted an enormous amount of money. But again, that's the fucking Liberal Party. Empowering the far right and wasting money. That's just what they do. A-holes, the bunch of them. So yeah, they fucking suck. So we are hoping that they get voted out soon. So as you were being a smartass, they listed Australian. Was that mail processes so quickly? Australia Post. You manually sorted 1,200 articles an hour. That's a lot. But yeah, like I said, this guy with his things saying he was throwing out the no votes was just shit stirring. And my God, they fucking took it hook, line. And of course, even the denials and saying like, no, this guy doesn't work for Australia Post. It's just a random Twitter troll, no basis in reality. But they were, oh, I bet someone's doing it. They're just such fucking pieces of shit, honestly. You're in Perth. You've never been that drunk in your life before. Yeah, it was a massive relief, most definitely. The fucking plebiscite never should have happened. It should have just been legislated. But what are you going to do? You take your wins where you can get it. So man, that's actually quite nice. I'm enjoying that. I honestly wasn't sure about that one. I thought I'm doing it just to use some of my Swedish punch because I probably should use it up. And that's a good one. I get to rename it because I'm doing my own stuff in it, I guess. They call it a highfalutin. Maybe. I need to come up with an Australian version of highfalutin. Robot Alien, just at me and I'll see it. Just, do at Angry Aussie and I'll see it. What happened? Oh, the lead singer of Silverchair has been charged with a high-range drink driving offence after an accident. I worry for him. He's been very open about some struggles with mental health and, of course, substance abuse and mental health challenges go hand in hand. It's a bit concerning that he's had this accident while he was Tim Smith. Actually, his blood alcohol reading was very close to Tim Smith's 0.15 something. So kids, don't drive when you're Tim Smithed, basically. Lemonheads, I believe he's okay, but it to me is this huge red light of he quite possibly needs some professional support. And yes, that's true. Annette, way back when he was younger, Daniel Johns had anorexia, wrote a song about it. He's had a range of struggles with mental and physical health issues. He had another health complication that was really rare, apparently quite similar to what Ozzy had, but Daniel Johns had lots of money and could get it treated. But yeah, so the lads had, I think lad is 40 something now, I assume, had a few challenges over the years. I do worry, it's easy, and I do it all the time. It's easy to like shit on celebrities, whether they be sports, music, film, TV, etc., whichever celebrity. It's easy to shit on you, but man, they actually do tend to give up a lot for our entertainment. Oh, Nettie, you looked it up. Daniel Johns is 38. Okay, that is slightly younger than I thought he'd be. But yeah, when I read that story about him having a crash, being charged with a high-range drink driving offence, very concerning for someone who's had a history of mental and physical health challenges. That kind of cries out like, he might be having problems at the moment. Oh, okay. He actually mentioned going into rehab. He's rich enough. Well, actually, that's an assumption on my part that he still has money. I'm making an assumption he still has money. He has enough money to get the good rehab that may actually work for him. And if he's choosing to do it and he actually really wants it to succeed, It's a big thing. It's kind of like because Mrs. Angry is a psychologist counselor, and she works with a lot of people, and she'll occasionally get people who are consulting with her, and they want to force a family member to get treatment, whether that be rehab or just counseling, therapy, and she has to break it to them. That isn't how it works. You can't push someone into either rehab or just therapy or counseling. They have to actively want to do it, or it simply isn't going to work. My account was hacked. I'm planning to. So the video, Frankie Foster wants that cookie. Okay, I do have it. I'll look at it another time. So it worked. I got the link you sent me. And yes, Nettie, addiction's expensive, often in more ways than one. Because, yes, people who are prone to addiction are often addicted to more than one thing. So, but yes, and addictions of all sorts take their toll on your life and can make all sorts of aspects of your life very difficult. And so, yeah, there's a thing. So, Lemonade's forced into rehab. Countdown to liqueur day. Not sure what you mean by that. God, that just made me think of Amy Winehouse and how kind of sad it was that someone who was so talented, and she was phenomenally talented, had a song called, They Tried to Make Me Go to Rehab, and I said, no, no, no. And then she dies because of her substance addictions. Like, that's just sad. So it raised how many addicts get sober then struggle because they get addicted to things. Yes, the way Elton John talked about that. He had problems with abuse of booze and pills, and he got past it. Never got past his shopping addiction, though. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Earthgrow saying the same thing. Elton John is a compulsive shopper still, apparently. So you renamed your Twitter account to that. Did happen, yeah. It's like I've got two-factor authentication on all of my accounts, and I occasionally get messages going like, "Oh, you're trying to log into your account. You've forgotten your password." And I go, "No, not me. It's some random fucko trying to do it." Two-factor authentication, kids. It helps. It's not foolproof, but it helps. Earth Crow. Elton had 5 addictions. Well, yeah, not at all surprising. Yes, if you want to break up various things, but in the very broad sense, I think he copped to issues with alcohol and drugs and compulsive shopping. Apparently, like he spends a fucking fortune shopping. But speaking of age, not that we were, but now I feel compelled. He must be fucking old now. Elton John age 75. Younger than Paul McCartney and Mick Jagger. Jagger's 78 and McCartney's 79. So Elton Hercules John. There you go. Yeah, no, Lemonheads apparently Elton John since the 70s, since he got rich, basically. Essentially since he got rich, so since the 70s, just spends stupid amounts of money, like on designer clothes and things for the house and shit. Just like wastes hundreds of thousands of dollars on compulsive shopping. Not as dangerous as his other addictions, the booze and the pills. Cause that shit'll fucking get you. Sorry, like that robot alien. Twitter account. It's abandoned, neglected. Yeah. Look, every time someone says how shit Twitter is, I agree with them, but I'm still on it. Ozzy Osbourne and Elton John did a song together that was released not that long ago. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up because that sounds kind of funny. Speaking of how the fuck is he alive, Ozzy Osbourne, Jesus. I feel like he only remembers about half of the last 40 years, if that. I remember Keith Richard admits to having lost entire years. It's like you say, oh, between then and I literally don't remember anything. And yes, Lemonheads, blowing all your money on shopping, not quite as destructive as blowing money and your health and ultimately your life on substance abuse. And in case anyone's wondering, I mean, I've never been that worried. As a great line I heard someone say recently, because they had a lot of bottles, and so you must be an alcoholic. No, alcoholics don't have big collections of bottles. Alcoholics have empty bottles. So being able to keep this collection is a pretty strong sign, not an alcoholic. Also, that I have regular days where I don't drink. And when I had COVID, I made a point of not drinking for a week, just to help my body fight it. And I didn't feel hard done by that whole time not drinking. I just choose to drink because it's fun. Yeah. So I'm sure the average doctor would still want to have a word with me about drinking, but it's like, fuck those guys. They're no fun. Sorry, there's a doco about Ozzy. He sits and watches all the live shows sober for 30, 40 years. Couldn't remember most of them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet he was fucking blasted in most of the shows. There was an interesting thing I read. It was ages ago. But there's a guy, the Stone Roses were very big in the 90s. And the lead singer just had terrible substance abuse problems. And the two things that stood, like this article was like an interview with him like 10 years after the Stone Roses peak. And I think the heading of the article was, "Blimey, is he still alive?" And he, the two things that stood out, the Stone Roses at their peak played Wembley Stadium in front of a massive crowd, and he admits he cannot remember it at all. And he said, and that's fucked. That's when you know you've done something bad. Like playing Wembley is a one of a kind of experience. Like so few people get to do it. And it was this amazing life achievement, and I don't fucking remember it. Yes, Lemonheads, one of their big songs was I Want to Be Adored, and Fool's Gold. They had a few good songs. And his other amazing feat was the final Stone Roses album. He continued to record under other names like Black Grape after Stone Roses, but the final Stone Roses album, when they'd finished recording it, he held the master tapes hostage and said he was going to destroy them. He was going to burn them if people didn't bring him crack cocaine. And the interviewer said, "Is that story real? did you hold the master tapes of the final album hostage and said you'd destroy it if you didn't get crack cocaine? And he said, I personally have no memory of that happening because of how fucked up I was at the time. But several people who I know and love and trust tell me I did that. And they wouldn't lie to me, so I assume it happened. I have no memory of it happening, but I assume it did happen. So, damn. Oh, Earthcrow, that is the fucking truth. Yeah, doctors and nurses telling you to limit alcohol, but they are mad party animals. An ex way back who was a nurse, there were these parties called Triple O parties. The only people meant to go were people who are in emergency service, like people who respond to Triple O. So that's doctors, nurses, fireys, ambos, and cops. And those were fucking piss fests. And yes, Lemonheads, those stories, the guy from the Stone Rose, they're sad. And he acknowledges they're sad. Those are bad stories. These are not wild, crazy things. It's bad to actually have this lifetime achievement that so many people dream of, playing Wembley and not being able to remember it. It's fucked. Ray's Oasis, drinking cocaine goes too far. Yeah, I think the brothers still don't talk to each other, do they? Look, that's another thing, Black Metal Heart as well, seeing horrors daily, you need something to dull reality. Life for, and I was saying this before, celebrities who I shit on them as much as anyone, but they give up anything approaching a normal life for our entertainment. And I don't think we acknowledge that enough. Like, it's only 1% of 1% of 1% of them who have luxurious lives, and huge swaths of the rest of them fuck up their lives for our entertainment and end up having next to nothing to show from it, and end up miserable or dying very young. And I remember saying this once when I had Ozzy on about, I was thinking specifically about musicians, rock bands, pop stars and stuff, like number of acts that I have really liked, and they never made it super big, but they were doing well enough to keep trying for like 10 or 15 years. And then it ultimately kind of came to nothing. They were living, hand to mouth for 10 to 15 years. And they eventually go, this is not happening. I have to give this up, because they don't make enough to continue living as a musician. And they go, I've got to get a day job. And they're in their 30s and they have less real world work experience than the average 18-year-old. And it's just so fucked. Like, they gave up 10 to 15 years of their life entertaining us and ended up with nothing from it. And as soon as I said that, AZ goes, and comedians, he was speaking for himself there. But yeah, I think we underestimate how many people in arts and entertainment fucking sacrifice their lives for our entertainment. Okay, Robot Alien has a hot, unpopular opinion. Socialists, I have no idea what you mean by that. Require each other. I have no idea what you mean by that. I get Lemonheads this way, like Evan Dando and Kurt Cobain, because they aren't cocky. Yeah. And you get great people who are celebrities, be they actors, musicians, whatever. Sorry, I love that story, Black Metal Heart. The inherent contradiction. Michael Jackson had a grocery store clear so he could feel like shopping as a normal person. And you're not shopping as a normal person if you do that, obviously. Raise. You got in the music industry 10 years ago, brink of breaking, only ever leasing, get ruined by drugs, 31 aiming. Yeah, it's a fucking challenge, man. You're like, you put so much into it. And if it doesn't quite pay off, it's like, oh my God, I sacrificed all that and I'm on my own now. It can be really difficult. Sorry, but Alien, united we stand, divided we fall. Look, okay, so I'll unite with any. I know there are. The left has a reputation for arguing over micro things. The only time I'm gonna sort of fuck someone off is if they're a total dick. You know, someone might say, I'm a Stalinist Trotskyist, and I would initially eye roll, and and they go, but if they don't do anything shit, I'm like, I'm okay with them. But it's kind of like someone who says that they believe the exact things I do, but they're an arsehole. Well, I'm going to fuck them off. Sorry, Safra, I'm not sure what that means. Micro cocktails. I'm having maxi cocktails at the moment for World Whiskey Day. Cocktails with whiskey in them. This one was actually better than I thought it would be. But I think I get to name it myself because I put different things in. That's an interesting one. Lemonheads. Nirvana knocked Jackson off the charts. Yeah, Jackson didn't do that well in the 90s, from what I remember. Anyway, what's this from Musical Aviator? Alessandro Stradella, sex, drugs, embezzling the Catholic Church, Baroque and roll. Died being assassinated by a contract set out by his lover's dad and or his wife. Well, okay, that's a fucking good line. You've led an interesting life when that's your historical reference. It's kind of like Christopher Marlowe, a contemporary of Shakespeare, who may have been a better writer than Shakespeare, but died young. And there's all sorts of scuttlebutt about his death was everything from just killed in a bar brawl to killed by a jealous husband when he'd banged them, although I think he was gay. But yeah, a lover's quarrel, through to rumors that he was a spy and he was killed. There was a whole espionage thing as to why he was killed. But records are so fucked from that far ago. It's impossible to know what the true story about Marlowe is. It's kind of difficult to know much about Shakespeare, actually. Apart from the fact that he really did write all the Shakespeare plays, every single person who's ever come up with a stupid, shit-eating, Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare thing is a fucking moron, a fucking lunatic, and their reasoning is absolute shite. And the historical record we have makes it as conclusive as it is possible to know that Shakespeare wrote all the Shakespeare plays. So Robot Alien, Stalin, the others did some good, some bad, definitely a lot of problems. Well, it was complicated, but again, Stalin was absolutely a dictator and a monster. Personally directed and oversaw murder on a massive scale. Yeah. I think the available evidence is the Soviet experiment failed. Yes. Safa, the chances Shakespeare killed the writer guy are zero, basically. There weren't even rumors of that. And yes, it is a complicated situation, but I feel quite comfortable in calling Stalin a monster who personally and deliberately directed death on an industrial scale. He is, in fact, it's like leaders are generally a bad idea. People who want power are usually the worst people to have power. That seems to be true again and again throughout history. Yes. Black metal gulags, ethnic cleansing, murder of political rivals, and even just bad decisions. Some of the stuff like that caused famine and whatnot, there is some argument as to whether he did it deliberately to kill a lot of people, and by a lot I mean somewhere from hundreds of thousands to millions. There is some conjecture over whether he did it deliberately to kill them, or whether it was incompetence, bureaucracy, lies that killed the millions of people, or whether it was a combination of the two. And yes, Robert Alien, yes. And anti-queer policies. Actually, I don't know much about that. Doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, call them counter-revolutionary. Justin, no idea who Kim Carr is. Sorry. Even a political tragic like me, there are some things in politics I don't know. Oh, man, okay. That drink was a fucking winner. Should I drink some water and then have another? Because I want to make one more drink. Should I have some water and then make another drink? Or make another drink, then have some water? Probably makes sense to have water later, actually. Yeah, that's my logic, and I'm sticking to it. Vieux Place. So I want to, okay, I'm going to get a different whiskey, and a cognac, and a gentian, and a vermouth, and an amaretto, and a sugar syrup, and a bitters. All right, I'm going to get a different whiskey because I have so many of them. All right, this one goes back over here. Maybe I'll make a bourbon. I got a new bourbon this week. A California bourbon, of all things. West of Kentucky, bourbon whiskey number 2, Sonoma County Distilling Company. 47.5% alcohol. So, it's a limited release. That was on a huge special, which is why I got it. So, I want a vermouth and a sugar syrup out of the fridge. There's a vermouth. What's that? Condiments? What's this? Oh, that's the Maiden Nine Nocturne. Okay, yeah, I did want to make something with that. I'm going to do this sugar syrup, just for a laugh. Just for a laugh. Okay, sugar syrup. I need to get cognac, gentian, and amaretto. Okay, so cognac, gentian, and if the amaretto was around here. Take it amaretto. Okay. 5 mils. I don't know if I can even taste that in the drink. Oops, I didn't put this stuff away. Okay, counter's getting crowded. I need to put this stuff back in the fridge. Also free up some counter space. Here we go. Okay, I'm settled again. Earthcrow, there is water in alcohol. That is a fair thing. Ooh, nice. Justin, you know, someone who works for him who might be the replacement. There you go. Actually, I admit the name Kim Carr is vaguely familiar. But anyway. Right, the Holodomor famine in Ukraine was caused by mass privatization, mismanagement, even further exacerbated. Yeah, there's some argument as to whether that was also done deliberately. That's what I'm saying, a grey area. Holodomor famine wasn't technically genocide. Yeah, there was there was some argument as to how much of that was done deliberately and how much of it was incompetence. All right, so whiskey, because it's International Whiskey Day. Man, this one has some really fruity notes. Like, seriously, I got vibes of orange peel and raisin from it. Right. Cognac. Man, I just about have to get a replacement for this too. That's about right. Cognac. Gentian. Australian equivalent of a Gentian. Ochre Gold. Just 15 mils. All right. A Zucker syrup. This is a syrup I made. It has feijoa. Because one of my neighbor was growing feijoa and there was an excess of them. So we claimed some of the excess. And I basically covered some feijoa in sugar. The sugar sort of absorbed a lot of the juice from the feijoa and turned into a syrup. And then I added a little bit of water. And so I have feijoa syrup. Because I'm a classy and interesting motherfucker. Did I do vermouth? I don't think I did. Do vermouth. Sorry, does anyone remember me doing vermouth? I don't remember doing vermouth. But where is my amaretto? What the fuck? Oh, that's an empty. What's that bottle? It's empty. All right. Teeny bit of amaretto. There you go. About 5 mils of amaretto. Okay, yeah. I didn't do vermouth. I didn't think I did vermouth. It's one of those things where your brain just blanks. So, all right. How much vermouth am I meant to put in? What am I doing? Vermouth, half an ounce. I actually said I was supposed to do a bit more gently. No, it'll be fine. It'll be grand. It'll be grand. And bitters. I don't have bitters. Okay. All right. I'll put these things back in the fridge. Put that there. Get some bitters. Anger and patience. Okay. And Worcester bitters and Pictures bitters, just a dash of each. All right. Okay, my hands are all sticky from the sugar syrup. I'm just going to wash my hands. Oh. Do. All right. So now the Vie Place. Very good with French pronunciation. But I think the pronunciation of this would be Vie Place. What is my mouse doing? There we go. We're all good in the hood. Was there anything interesting in the news headlines? Oh, God. Okay, I got into a minor argument with some fuckwits on Facebook today because Elon Musk, the fucking dead shit that he is, posted this thing on Twitter like a poll saying, do you think Twitter upholds free speech? Vote carefully. A lot depends on. So you've got these cockheads going, yeah, Elon's gonna do a social media platform that's really free and free speech, and it's just like, shut the fuck up, you idiots. It's like, I don't get why people worship Elon Musk. He's never had an original idea. He's made all his money off other people's work, starting with his family's money from apartheid emerald mines. He's a piece of fucking shit. And also, just this idea of, oh, Twitter's not free speech enough is going like, so what are you going to? You're going to create a social media platform with various right-wing fuckheads have already tried to do and have largely failed. But if you go, if you're in complete free speech, what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to host defamatory speech, which would get you prosecuted in multiple countries around the world? Does that mean you're going to host child porn? Does that mean you're going to host hate speech, which again will get you prosecuted all around the world? It's just like, it's a stupid fucking fantasy. And yes, Elon Musk could theoretically start another social media platform. There's like a 99% chance it will fail if he does. And there are just a cavalcade of reasons why it will fail. And just the odds are radically against him succeeding. And again, but even if he succeeded, this idea of complete free speech, no, it doesn't exist. There is no such thing. There are repercussions to certain types of speech all around the world. And like the ones I listed, defamatory speech, hate speech, incitements to violence, and child porn, just those are just the first ones. It's just like, fuck you. It's just like the fanboys are just such fucking morons. Safa, is Musk a Republican? I don't think he is officially, but he's a self-absorbed fucking exploitative prick. So he may as well be a Republican. Your third round of 30 days on Facebook for joking about politicians, bullwhipping, probably self-flagellate at home anyway. Yeah, I've learned to just not fucking say anything. Like I said, these guys being Musk fanboys and just saying stupid things in response to me going like, it isn't going to happen. Musk is not some huge genius. He's made all his money from other people's work, and like I said, including the apartheid emerald mines that he inherited. And this right-wing concept of free speech simply doesn't exist. It's a fallacy. Nowhere in the world, including the US with their freedom of speech, nowhere in the world is there complete freedom of consequence for speech. Like I said, those were just some of the ones I highlighted. There's a whole bunch of stuff that will definitely get you prosecuted. So if that's an interesting question, I mean, my money would be on no, Trump will never officially run for US president again because he doesn't want to lose. If he never runs, he can continue with his deranged bullshit about, I really won and they stole the election and blah, 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 blah. But if he runs again, and say, for instance, fails to even get the Republican nomination, that would be humiliating. If he runs and gets the Republican nomination but loses the election, whereas if he just stays on the sidelines and keeps up his dumb fucking shit, he can do that forever. So Black Metal Heart, right wingers confused private companies can fire people for what they set up. Yeah, it's my free speech. It's like if someone in a private company is creating a hostile workplace by using derogatory or hate speech against other people, then it actually behooves an employer to go, wait, you're fucking up the place for everyone. You need to go. Oh my God. Yeah, it's the most tiresome and stupid argument right wingers keep saying, because Nazi is a contraction of National Socialist parties. Hitler did join a political party that was called something like the Socialist Workers' Party, but it was basically a ruse to get power. He took over an existing political party, and it's essentially anyone who wants to push that line. The Nazis were socialists. They're too stupid to waste time on. They're either too stupid to waste time on, or they're so deliberately arguing in bad faith, you don't want to waste time on them. Either way, you don't want to waste time on them. Safa, yes, that was a weird thing, the way Trump tried to destroy the US Postal Service because he knew a lot of Democrats were going to be doing postal votes. The Republicans generally in the US are fucking scumbags. Trump was just particularly open and aggressiveness in his scumbaggery. Man, the flavors in this drink are great. What was in it again? So it's the whiskey, the cognac, the herbal liqueur, sweet vermouth, the amaretto. Sure. Yep, that's a winner. That's a good one. I like that. A good one. Gets my seal of approval. Actually, all the ones I made tonight, or all, I made 2 cocktails. Seal of approval on both of them, though. Because the thing, experimentation is key. And if you experiment lots, you are occasionally going to make things that you don't particularly like. But these ones tonight, yummy. No, that one's particularly good, fruity and sweet. Oh dear. Deplatform Joe Rogan. It's absolutely surreal, the level of influence Joe Rogan has had in particularly the last 5 years. It's really weird. It's like, I don't hate Joe Rogan, but his whole shtick is closeted white guy who has never had anything much in the way of hardship his whole life. So he thinks everything is equal because they all affect me equally, which is to say not at all. So he doesn't see the problem in platforming psychopaths, liars, charlatans, dangerous people. And that's just the product of his privilege. So I don't think he's inherently evil or inherently bad. It's just he's absolutely a product of his own sheltered, privileged upbringing. And he aggressively kicks back against the idea that he's a gross, privileged fucking prat. But that's what he is. Everything he says and does is a product of his extreme privilege. And yeah, because he's never going to suffer from the ridiculous bullshit that he propagates on his show. He thinks, I want interesting thinkers. It's just kind of like, you've got people who will get other people killed, and you are uncritically letting them spout their shit that will literally get people killed. And that makes you an irresponsible fuckwit. So would McCain have been more of a war hawk than Obama? It'd be difficult to be more of a war hawk than Obama with the amount of fucking drone bombing he did, but who knows? Robot, that doesn't surprise me. I don't pay enough attention to Joe Rogan to know specifically transphobic things he said, but that would be absolutely consistent with his persona. Again, being so privileged, so blind to the fact so many people don't have the level of privilege he has. He literally goes, discussing ideas doesn't hurt me. Discussing ideas is great. So he doesn't see the problem in platforming people who will literally get other people killed because it doesn't affect him. And so he's just in the little bubble. If it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect anyone. It's just he's a self-absorbed prat. Robot, I don't doubt that at all. Like I said, I don't pay enough attention to Joe Rogan to know that, but that's absolutely consistent with his persona. Probably makes stupid attack helicopter jokes. Pathetic. But yeah, it's kind of like the South Park thing where they're like, we make fun of everyone. And it's kind of like, you're acting like belittling and abusing the most vulnerable and marginalized people in society is the same as making jokes about the most powerful people in society. And it just fucking isn't. One of them is, taunting people in power. The other's bullying. The other is just shitty fucking bullying. It's an absolute false equivalence to say shitting all over the most marginalized and vulnerable people in society is the same as making fun of the richest, most powerful people in society. It's just not the same. Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Black metal keeping trans women out of women's sport, even though it's logically unsupportable, and the evidence directly tells you the argument transphobes have about women's sport are dumb as fuck. But again, yes, because Joe Rogan's had so many people tell him the sun shines out of his ass. He believes the sun shines out of his ass. There was an hilarious thing for one of his comedy specials from just a couple of years ago, where one of his lines was, if you don't have people who call you on your bullshit, you're going to be a bad person because you'll believe your own bullshit. And it was just like, that is so fucking strange, because he clearly believes his own bullshit. He clearly does not have anyone who calls him on his bullshit and points out when he's talking absolute shit. And it's just like, his head's so far up his own ass. It's absolutely ridiculous. But so stuff you like Trump's wrestling stunt? Was that thing he did years ago with Vince McMahon? I have a vague memory of that. Yeah. No, black metal, his friends are clearly bootlickers. But yeah, it was absolutely surreal. Someone pointed it out recently online. I saw it. A line from a comedy special he did just a couple of years ago that's like, if you don't have people who call you out on your bullshit, you're just going to spout bullshit all the time. And I went, yeah, dude, you fucking are. You really fucking are. His lack of self-awareness is fucking stunning. It's just, and that's the thing, when you're super fucking privileged, lack of self-awareness is like an occupational hazard. You want to think you're a good person, so you just go, everything I do is the act of a good person because I am a good person, Therefore, I would not do a thing that a good person would not do. Therefore, anyone that criticizes anything I do is full of shit because I am a good person. And there's this complete inability to look at the things he says and does objectively and just go, well, dude, you're fucking hurting people. Like, you are literally platforming people who will get other people killed. That's a thing he does on the regular, whether it's from absolutely spurious medical advice that will get people killed, or you're fucking promoting transphobes and Nazis and whatnot who will physically kill people, or the words they say will inspire other fucking lunatics to kill people. So for Tony Abbott's another one that I believe has a major disconnect from reality. Tony Abbott does not see himself clearly at all. Also, Joe Rogan has lots of friends. Joe Rogan has lots of sycophants and hangers-on and whatnot. I don't think Tony Abbott has many friends. Tony Abbott's a fucking scary piece of shit. Sure, he'll be courted by various people and whatnot. I don't think Tony Abbott has quite, like, I don't think Tony Abbott has 1/100th the level of sycophants and hangers-on that Joe Rogan has. I think Tony Abbott is more disconnected from reality than Joe Rogan is. I also think Tony Abbott is a considerably worse person than Joe Rogan. I think Tony Abbott is actively evil. I think Tony Abbott is actively hateful. Actually, I think Joe Rogan is actively hateful on a number of levels. Tony Abbott's just worse. I think Tony Abbott is actively hateful and dangerous on almost every level. Yes, Safa, it is good that swatting is not really a thing in Australia, but the over-militarization of the US police force is, yes, if you can trick local law enforcement into sending heavily armed police into someone's place, it'll happen. Yes, there's a very low risk of that happening in Australia. It's not impossible, it's low risk. I'll start with that question. Okay, who's worse, Morrison or Abbott? That's like saying what's worse, syphilis or gonorrhea. Okay, they're both bad. They're just bad in different ways. Abbott is an actively evil, nasty, angry, sociopathic piece of shit. Morrison is just an empty, self-serving, completely lacking in basic human qualities like empathy piece of shit. Like, Morrison's not as aggressively destructive as Abbott, but Morrison is just empty. Morrison is a husk. Morrison does not care what happens. And yes, that's probably it's a good thing, Earthgrow. Abbott's a thug. He's an incredibly aggressive thug. Whereas Morrison is more an empty void. Very self-serving, very soulless, just completely lacking in compassion. And so, where would I put Turnbull? Turnbull is just a spineless, self-promoting narcissist. The fact he sucked up to the people that were trying to destroy him in the Liberal Party was pathetic. He's just like a spineless narcissist. Oh yeah, okay. See, that black metal, that thing about shirt fronting Putin, that was just an example of Abbott is not smart. Like, people go, oh, it's a Rhodes Scholar. That whole Rhodes Scholarship thing was about connections and who you know, not about how smart you are. Abbott is just not bright. Abbott is not an intelligent or insightful person. When he said shirt front Putin, he meant to use, what he was meaning was, I'm going to collar him. Even saying you're going to collar him is fairly aggressive, but that means you're going to pull someone up and say, hey, what do you? Shirt fronting is a quite violent football term. It means grabbing someone by the front of the shirt and throwing them to the ground. That is not what Abbott meant. Abbott meant to say he's collaring someone, but Abbott would regularly be out of his depth and say the wrong thing and use the wrong words because Abbott is not smart. It's as simple as that. Earthquake, you met Turnbull. Self-inflatable air balloon. Yep, that's fair. And yes, talking about the onion thing, that was weird as fuck when he was meeting the onion growers and he just took a bite out of a raw onion that still had the raw skin, brown skin on it. And the onion growers were just kind of looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Who fucking does that? What the fuck? Yeah. The interesting commonality of Abbott and Morrison is they're both out of their depth, but in different ways. Abbott is like a thug and a bully and a very negative person. And then he got highest office in the land and he didn't know what to do with it. Morrison is he's an empty suit. He's just a PR hack. He is a fucking marketing shithead. And he's out of his depth in a different way to Abbott. But he just keeps using spin. Everything is spin. Everything's staged photo ops. There's never any substance. Abbott probably had more substance than Morrison, but Abbott is just a nasty piece of work. He's just a terrible, nasty piece of work. And Morrison's just a void. There's not a neither of them are human. Abbott is like a testosterone crazed ape that had been cast out by the rest of the apes and so was constantly trying to retaliate. Whereas Morrison's just some fucking reptile that has no human empathy or no human characteristics. Oh, Safa, you ran into... Okay, so you ran into Morrison after Tim Fisher's funeral, getting in his car, looked at each other, didn't say anything, and got in his car. And that was in your town. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. No, that's a weird little experience you had there. Interesting story, that one. Oh, okay. There we go. Finish the go. It's like a little planet going around. It's going to go in the black hole of my mouth. Love those cherries. Doesn't really taste like any of the drinks. It just tastes like sugar. So I think that's what they do with those cherries. Like, I seriously used to think that the glacé cherries weren't real cherries. They were some weird formed thing. And when you get glacé cherries that had the cherry stalk still in them, I thought that had artificially been put in. Then I saw one of those how it's made doco type shows, and it was glacé cherries. And it's real cherries, and they put them in some fucking brutal chemical solution which bleaches them and turns them into this freaky white rubbery thing, and then they soak them in sugar syrup. So the old glacé cherries, sometimes it's a red sugar syrup, And sometimes it's a green sugar syrup because you get red and green glacé cherries. So it's a real cherry, but some sort of chemical has turned it into this very different substance to what a natural cherry is like. These ones I have, the Luxado Maraschino cherries, these are soaked in Maraschino syrup. Candied cherries with Maraschino syrup. The Maraschino cherry is a fruit cultivated and distilled by Luxado for its renowned maraschino liqueur. So these are the cherries they use in maraschino liqueur. They bleach them and then they soak them in the Maraschino syrup, which is cherry syrup. And so they're these really red things. These are much nicer than glacé cherries. These are fucking great. Oh, Christ. Earthcrow, that's old school. You asked Peter Reith a policy question. The Menzies Hotel once turned around, baby stomped from the table back to the main table. What a baby. Man, that's old school. Peter fucking Reith. Again, the Liberal Party attracts such fucking nasty people. Black Metal Heart. Rudd to me was a great disappointment because he had the makings of a truly historically good prime minister, but he had these very bad, angry personality traits that made him impossible to work with. Apparently, a big part of it was not sleeping. He was so obsessive and stuff, stayed up all night reading shit and didn't sleep. So he's always grumpy because he hadn't slept all night. And then so he was abusive to his staff and other parliamentarians. And it got to the point where people just couldn't work with him. And so then you had that ugly thing, which honestly should never have happened, which is also why I don't like Bill Shorten, because he was instrumental in both offing Kevin Rudd and then subsequently offering Julia Gillard. I was so fucking pissed off when they gave him the leadership of the party after he was instrumental in all that fuckery. Yeah. So yeah, Rudd to me is a disappointment. It's because of his abusive personality, he was impossible to work with. And if he could have managed that, I think he could have been a truly great prime minister. And Safa, I think Reith was finance minister. But man, that's very old school. Safa, I have no idea if Albanese would have won in 2016. Fucking Shorten should have won. It was a travesty. But anyway. And yes, Earthcrow, Rudd's ego is huge. Oh, God, do you think... Okay, yeah, God. Okay, Reith Industrial Relations. Anyone who's doing industrial relations for the LNP is going to be a fucking monster. Gonna have a little bit of water before bedtime. Which probably just means I'm going to have to wake up in the middle of the night to take a piss. So I think Reith was the 90s, maybe 80s and 90s. And Black Metal Heart, yes. Yeah, oh no, there is no doubt. Rudd was smart. He was talented. He had all the capacity to be an historically great prime minister, and he fucked it up because of his narcissistic and abusive personality. Very disappointing stuff. Very disappointing. Again, he's orders of magnitude better than anyone in the fucking LNP. They're just monsters. And I am absolutely shameless in my partisan assessment on that front. It's like, you know, fucking they're just the worst. I was trying to think of something else, but they're just, the LNP leaders are the fucking worst. John Howard entrenched racism as a central platform in Australian politics, which is disgusting. Labor, in their cowardice, have never fought hard against it, which is a very upsetting part of politics when you get people who are more focused on what electoral gains can I get in the short term, rather than what policies will make things better long term. And I see over the last 20 years a lot of cowardice in the Labour Party. A lot of really just horrible, awful, abusive behaviour from the LNP, which is worse than the moral cowardice of the ALP. But still, I don't feel like pussyfooting about and making excuses for them. The cowardice of the ALP over the last 2 decades that has repulsed me quite a bit. So if you were annoyed enough at Rudd getting stabbed to vote Liberal, well, I don't think it should have happened. But I don't know. It's like Rudd forced people's hand. Like particularly the thing Rudd supporters gloss over, because Julia Gillard made multiple public statements of, I won't run against, I won't challenge the Prime Minister, I won't run against the Prime Minister. And Rudd was so paranoid and so worried about the support Gillard had in the party room, because he knew a significant number of the party room had the shits with him and thought Gillard would make a better leader. And after repeated public statements from Gillard that she would not challenge Rudd, Rudd was still trying to and she wanted to be true to word. Rudd was still undermining her. He was circulating little memos to members of cabinet like, oh, you can't support Gillard as leader. We did this market research that said voters fucking hate her. She's shit, don't vote for her. And basically, Shorten went to Gillard and said, like, Rudd's got to go. And she's going, I absolutely won't run against him. And then he showed Gillard the memo that Rudd had been circulating saying how shit. So she was publicly, sincerely saying she wouldn't move against Rudd. And behind the scenes, Rudd just was nonstop shit talking her. And so when Shorten showed this memo to Gillard, she just went to Rudd's office and said, fuck you, and said, you no longer have my confidence. The fact that you would do this when I have publicly and sincerely said, I'm not going to challenge you, that you then go and act as if I am challenging you and shit talk me to people, I can't support you. You no longer have my confidence. And at that point, Rudd sort of pulled the switch. He didn't want a party room vote to kick him out. So he stepped down from the position of party leader and said, now we should have a party room vote on who should be leader. And he lost it. So Gillard never voted to remove him. Rudd supporters act like she did. She never did. It's Rudd thought, the game's up, everyone's against me, I'll now force the thing, and then he lost the vote. Robot Alien, you're going to bed. So am I pretty soon, quite honestly. So if you wonder if Morrison was... Oh, no. He will absolutely lose his position as leader of the Liberal Party. Honestly, if the LNP win the next election, I'm just fucking done. I'm fucking done. I just won't be able to wrap my head around it, I don't think. But there is no way if Morrison loses a federal election that he'll stay on as party leader. No way. But it's a traditional thing. The the loser of an election recuses themselves from the leadership position. In some cases, the party room votes them back in. In Morrison's case, they will not vote him back in. No fucking way will they vote him back in. I still hold out hope the LNP get fucking smashed in the next election. It's difficult times we live in. I just feel like good things don't happen anymore. And so it's very hard to see what happens. But, yeah, no, if the LNP don't lose the next federal election, I'm just going to fucking done, honestly. That's just... The thought of that's too fucking depressing for words, honestly. Black Miller. Potato Head. It never stops being funny to me that Dutton doesn't understand what electoral poison he is. I think that's hilarious. Well, Suffolk Dutton reckons he should be LNP leader. Who knows what would happen after the next election if the Olympic... Who knows? I don't. I just don't. That's great. A woman asked you rice directions when I told her how I failed the rice. Paranoid bloke next to me thought we were conspiring. Happened at a political party meeting. Wow. Okay. That is super weird. And I like it. I like super weird stories. And that is a super weird story. Thinking of a slug of this bourbon before I go to bed. Made from grain to glass in Sonoma County, California, USA. California was once home to a number of fine bourbon-style whiskey makers. Building on the tradition of Kentucky bourbon, we showcase the spirit of California's ingenuity, creating our take on the classic whiskey. Starting with American yellow corn, aged in new American oak, this is California's bourbon. So this is a wheated bourbon with the primary grain and unmalted yellow corn from the American Midwest. Secondary grain, unmalted Canadian wheat. Tertiary grain, malted barley from Wyoming. Barrel type, new charred American oak. Tasting notes, toasted vanilla, almond, toffee brittle, and coffee. Hand bottled, unfiltered. This was bottled in 26. So this was on super special because I think it was like lost in a warehouse somewhere. And then this distributor said, hey, we're selling this at like 2/3 off what we'd normally sell it for. So I'm like, oh yeah, California. So yeah, it's a 2016 bottling. And I feel like these guys just found it and went, oh, okay. Well, this is a pretty good bourbon, but we need to get rid of it, and we're going to sell it. So I got it on sale. Yeah, I'm going to have a sip of this straight before going to bed. It's medicinal. That's what it is. It's medicinal. Yes. Black Metal Heart, paranoia, politics, hand in hand. Earthcrow, yes, it is a natural breeding ground for paranoia. And yes, someone who just hears random things you say. Oh, okay. Good question, Safa. Can bourbon go off? Theoretically, once something is bottled, it stops aging. When something is in a cask, it continues to develop and change and age. Not always for the better. But once it's bottled, that's like sealed, theoretically, it doesn't change from that point on. So, yeah, Black Metal Heart, back to Stalin. He was, apparently pretty paranoid. But yeah, once a spirit is bottled, it theoretically doesn't change. But here's the other thing. Once you open your bottle, the less spirit that's left, this is, I don't know if this is 100% true, but this is accepted wisdom. There's more air in there. It's more likely to oxidize the spirit, and so the spirit loses some of its quality. This is where you get it's two schools of thought. When you've got a nice bottle of whiskey and it's more than 3/4 gone, you should do one of two things. You should either get all your bottles that only have a little bit left and put them all together and make a blend and fill another bottle of your own blend, and that'll stop it from oxidizing. Or you should invite a couple of special friends around and you should just empty the bottle. Just drink shots of it till you're done. Ooh, Earthgrow. That's a nice augmented reality idea. Lick the monitors and taste the cocktails. Ooh, that's not bad at all. Okay, now to put the idea in my head, like the tastes they say are in it. Where is it? Toasted vanilla, almond toffee. I can taste a little bit of coffee now that I read that that's what it's saying. Whereas my initial taste of it, I was tasting really fruity notes. To me, it was like orange peel and raisin. It's not bad, though. It's not bad at all. It's got a bit going on. Anyway, I didn't taste my barrels. I might do that on Tuesday. Because I might take the cocktail out of one. I think that's at the 3-week mark. Suffer going to be awake from the coffee. Fortunately, it's not actual coffee. It's just a slightly bitter sort of burnt note that is reminiscent of coffee rather than being actual coffee. So hopefully won't be awake all night. And I think I maybe will actually go to bed now. Might to brush my teeth to get the bourbon off my breath before I go to bed. That seems like a good idea. I have no idea what accent that is I'm doing. I just get a bit silly sometimes. So, yes, I think I'm going to go to bed. And I won't be on tomorrow night. I'll be doing TV, Watch a Night with Mrs. Angry tomorrow. Probably be on Tuesday night. The world is a weird and strange place, and something might happen that means I'm not. But the plan would be I'm going to be on Tuesday night. Actually going into the office on Tuesday. So Tuesday will be a day in the city for the first time in ages. There'll be a mild temptation to go to a couple bars after work. Only a mild temptation. I don't know if I'll do it, but I might. Saf, what am I watching? What do we have episodes of to watch? Probably two extremely different shows. A sci-fi show called Raised by Wolves and a light entertainment show called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's probably what I'm watching tomorrow night. A couple episodes of Raised by Wolves, a couple episodes of Mrs. Maisel. But there's other stuff as well. There's stuff I have to watch. We'll see. But I am going to go to bed, so you'll take care of yourselves. Looking forward to seeing you another time.